Paul, we've talked a lot about the things that Brad does for you guys. But when you look at a series like this, he obviously has so much success in his career against Toronto in the playoffs, Lightning as well. But of all the things he's brought to you guys, how valuable is that experience he just has against all the teams you guys have to go through to get to where you want to go?
Yeah. I guess that's more almost directed at him. So in terms of how he plays, there's a whole nother level of the game that the coaches kind of aren't involved in. And that is these forwards, if they spend enough time against defensemen, will learn their tendencies, right? The little things that we're not teaching them on the ice, it's experiential only. But then they do share that, and that's kind of what we're excited about with that line. You got two young guys that get to learn from somebody who spent a lot of years in the league against certain defensemen, and he'll share that. And it's great for those two younger players to have that experience with Brad.
I know you don't go to the penalty kill meetings and all that, but what kind of a challenge does this specific power play offer to teams with the five forwards and the talent of those five forwards?
It allows for more interchangeability. You don't see on power plays with a defined defenseman up top him rotate very much, right? He'll move side to side, maybe get down on the flank, but there won't be a lot of interchange that happens. And there's more with a five-forward power play. You can start at the top and end up at the net, and they've got enough experience doing those kind of things, so there'll be quite a bit more movement, we feel, in their power play.
But your PK has been so good. Are you pretty confident that you're going to hold your own, if you will?
We'll find out tomorrow night.
Okay.
If your penalty kill is not very good, you don't have to live with it too long because you're out of the playoffs. So you've got to have a solid penalty kill to get to the next round. I think it's more important than your power play. And I'm not allowed in the meetings, so.
Last one for me, Matthew Tkachuk not out there.
Yeah, that's all by design. He had a heavy day yesterday, in just kind of getting some of that conditioning and strength back. So he's on every second day rotation now, as we will be starting tomorrow.
But good for a game.
Yeah.
Back to the special team stuff. There is history, obviously, between the two teams, yet you look at the regular season series, and the stakes are different than this time of year, of course, but I think you only gave up 9 power plays against them in the 4 games.
Yeah.
Just how critical is that to?
Well, volume matters, for sure. You just can't be in the box. I haven't felt that you know anything about what tomorrow is going to look like necessarily from what's happened in the past. It may be low scoring, it could be high scoring. Special teams could have a huge impact or not very much, depending on how much time you're in the penalty box. If you want to stay out of the, those stick penalties, the trippings, the hooks, that's usually a tell that you're behind it. In which case, you're probably losing the game 5-on-5. If you're behind it, you're behind it, and it'll affect you more importantly on your 5-on-5 game. So staying out of the penalty box is critical for everybody. Your power plays in a series got to win you a game. Your penalty kill is going to have to win you a game. Your goalie's got to win you a game. So every piece of your game is going to have to be at a fairly elite level to make a difference.
And he's probably not as celebrated as some of the other acquisitions in the last year, but what has Nico brought to the room, to your group, to the PK, all the things that
I would look at that.
For?
Yeah, I look at that a little bit like when Aaron Ekblad's in our lineup, it changes the structure. So Nico's been going out with Luostarinen, if you want to call it, in the Stenlund hole, right? That was the idea last year. Having Brad then also, we've really added 2 really good penalty killers to our group, and so you get the depth. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're a dominant penalty killing team, but what it means is I'm not running Barkov and Reinhart big minutes. So it's allowed us to spread that out over some good players, have a fairly high quality of penalty killers going out, but we're not burning people out to do it.
You've coached against some of the league goal scorers. What kind of stands out about Austin Matthews and going against him?
You know what, you'd be better off talking to a goaltender or a goalie coach about that. But one theme for all of the elite goal scorers, it's hard to pick up when the puck comes off their stick. And that would be the thing about Alex Ovechkin that makes him so elite. You're just not sure when it's coming off. And all of those guys have the ability to shoot a puck in all different areas across their body. They can shoot it from their feet. They can shoot it from the outside. They can change direction. So that's why I never played goal. All right.
Paul, is there anything 2 years later that sticks out about that 48-hour whirlwind when you won Game 7 in Boston? You went right to Toronto and you kind of punched them in the mouth a little bit.
Well, I don't remember that series of words, sir. I do think the team that comes off a Game 7 series is just in rhythm, and there's an advantage. Now, it may not continue because fatigue will eventually change and the series changes. So there is an advantage sometimes playing every second night and just keep it going. And I think that there's nothing from that series that's impactful other than maybe what we learned in Game 4, but that had nothing to do with the Toronto Maple Leafs. It was our first, we went to 7 games in the first series. It was our first closeout game. And we learned an awful lot and what happens when you want it real bad and how that translates into the things you do with the puck and your feet. So we would have talked about that game, but it's not specific to Toronto. It was the first time we had a chance to close out a series, and we were tight that night. So we do talk about that. Okay, guys.